first round exits after winning a championship. Injuries every single time. They made the Dame trade. We kind of talked about their future outlook after the Dame injury. This is where, first and foremost, what a brutal way to lose. I mean, they're like, the chances of them winning this series were pretty much slim to none. But to go on the road, Game 5, it feels like your season's over and done with, and you perform like that. Gary Trent Jr. shoots lights out like he did, and he's talking shit. And I feel so bad. I really do feel terribly for Gary Trent Jr. because he had those 2 bad turnovers there at the end. 2 bad turnovers that I think most people are going to remember over the course of this game, as we think about this game moving forward. But they're not even in the position to blow that lead if it weren't for Gary Trent Jr. First and foremost, Nimhard, playoff riser. Bad turnover here by Gary Trent. Poor guy. Again, just feel so terribly for him. Because, they're not even in a position to blow this. Tyrese Halliburton was incredibly clutch. Overrate that. And this one right here. Oh, man. That one hurts. The one that slips right through the legs. Nutmegs him. Oh, I feel horribly for the guy. Because, again, they're not even in the position. Like, that's a play that will live in infamy, those 2 turnovers. But they're not even in a position there to blow this lead if it were not for him. Clutch layup by Halliburton to win the game and ice the series. And then chaos did ensue. And we'll talk about the chaos that ensued following this. Following this play, following the end of this game. But, man, it boils down to this. If you're Giannis, and we know that Giannis applies pressure to the front office. We've seen that. Giannis, there was rumblings and rumors, hey, Giannis is getting, there's a chance that Giannis could leave soon. There's a chance Giannis can leave soon. His contract extension is coming up. The Bledsoe shit's been a disaster. Like, Giannis is applying some pressure to the front office. They trade for Drew Holiday. They win a championship immediately. It works out. Then GM stepped in. They lose in the first round after making the playoffs. Their team's getting older. Dame comes on the market. Giannis says, go get him. Hey, I love Drew. Go get him. Mavs 06 with a 989. Has Ant's playmaking leap more so been a direct result to Lakers having no rim protection, or do you think it's sustainable against top defenses? Levy content, Brody. No, he's made these strides over the course of the season. He's definitely gotten better. But yeah, not having rim protection. I mean, what do I trust Ant's playmaking out of double teams against a team like OKC? In like a playoff setting? Ant's playmaking leap is making easy-ass passes to guys making shots? No, it's not. Passing out of double teams is not easy for anyone. Okay? It's not easy. So anyways, GM steps in. Go get Dame. They go get Dame. It's a pairing that really should have worked. The two-man game between Giannis and Dame should have been the most unstoppable play, similar to Giannis, or similar to Jamal Jokic pick and roll. Like, we can just spam this a million times and it works every single fucking time. And for some reason, it just never got there. And now Dame's career as a top-end contributor is probably over. Won't be on the floor next year. And now you look at the Bucks situation. Now you look at the Bucks. Yeah, it's Giannis' screen. It's a bunch of stuff. You look at the Bucks situation, and it's dire. It's absolutely dire. Do we think Giannis is going to demand a trade? What do you guys think? I think that's the only way they trade him, because we got to talk about the Bucks situation as a whole. There's simply no way they just trade him to do it. Like, that's not happening. Milwaukee's a small market. Their outlook, we talked about this after the Dame trade, but we'll pull it up here in a second. We'll look at their picks. Here, Giannis is under contract for the next 3 seasons with a player option on the third. So really 2 seasons, Giannis is under contract. So you don't have to trade him right now. Their roster situation is bleak, man. It's old. It's old, and I want to pull up their contract situation because a lot of these guys are free agents, actually. Where's Spotrac when I need it? A lot of these guys are free agents. You look at their team. Again, Giannis has 2 years left and then a player option. Dame, this number right here is brutal. $54 million next year. He's not gonna play basketball next year. I mean, Dame playing basketball at any point next year would be shocking, right? Then a $58 million player option coming off of an Achilles tear. He's probably gonna pick that up if I had to guess. He'll be 36 years old at that point. Okay? Kuzma, $22 million next year. $20 million in 26, 27. Brook Lopez, he's 36 years old. He's a free agent. So keep that in mind. Bobby Portis has a player option for $13 million. We think he picks that up? Probably not. He's probably going to go after a multi-year deal. Pat Connaughton, player option for $9 million. Unfortunately for the Bucks, he probably picks that up. KPJ, player option for $2 million. I think KPJ probably does not pick that up, and he goes and gets a multi-year deal somewhere. Taurean Prince was big for them during the regular season. Free agent. Gary Trent Jr. has been really big for them. Free agent. And I don't think they have bird rights for these guys. Jericho Sims, honestly, gave them some pretty interesting minutes. Free agent. And then their young guys, Andre Jackson Jr., Action Jackson, athletic, has shown some flashes defensively, but he's not a player that you give a shit about moving forward realistically. I mean, look at their fucking young guys. They're terrible. No offense. They're awful. And they traded the only somewhat interesting young guy that they had for Kyle Kuzma, who just had a monstrosity of a series. Well, AJ Green's not awful, no, but AJ Green is 25, and it's not like AJ Green is a young guy where you're like, I don't know if you guys just heard that. It's getting loud out there. AJ Green's not a young guy where you're like, dude, Giannis, don't leave, bro. We got AJ Green. By the way, here's Kyle Kuzma's stats for this series. The infamous 0-0-0-0-0 game, the quintuple 0. Game 1, 12 points in game 2. And I felt so bad for the guy because I was watching that game on NBA TV. And Kuzma gets a layup, and they're like, and Kyle Kuzma's got his first field goal of the series. And they're like, and Kuzma's now 2 for 4. 4 points for Kuzma. I'm like, all right, this guy's making $20 million. He's not the team manager who on senior night gets to go out onto the floor, all right? It's a little embarrassing for the guy. 9 points in game 3 on 9 shots. 3 points in game 4, 16 minutes. 5 points last night, 13 minutes. Was completely out the rotation, basically. Completely out the rotation by the end of it. You traded away franchise legend Chris Middleton, which, hey, you know what? Maybe it was time. And a guy that you just spent a first-round pick on in the last draft, A.J. Johnson, who was a maligned pick at the time. I don't want to, people were like, what the fuck? Why would you make that pick? Super young guy. I think he was the youngest guy in the draft, right? Or one of the youngest guys in the draft. Super raw. Never really got a chance in Milwaukee. Goes to Washington. Plays pretty well. Shows some interesting stuff. So if you're Giannis, you look at this and realistically, what's there for you? What's there? There's no way out of this. There's no, even if there's a desperate star that demands a trade who's maybe his value is low. You know, I'm trying to think of who that would even be. I mean, all right, let's look at this. Let's say Embiid asks out or some shit. And it's like, man, you can get Embiid for 20 cents on the dollar. I don't even think that the Bucks don't even have enough to do something like that. Like, the Bucks can't even pull a move like that. Like, could there be a Damian Lillard salary for Paul George scenario here? Think about that. Like, that's where you're at. Damian Lillard salary for Bradley Beal. That's where you're at. I'm being honest. That's their move. Hold up, Dame's salary for Paul George. If I'm the Sixers, I am calling the Bucks phone the first day of the offseason. I'm offering that. I am offering them that day one of the offseason. Think about that. That actually does that work straight up? We get off of Paul George's shit ass contract for a desperate team that just feels like, all right, we'll take anyone. That's kind of a funny one to think about. I don't know if you guys hear it, but it's shitting outside. How does that help Philly? Oh, they get out of the Paul George monstrosity contract. Yeah, it doesn't matter if Dame's not playing next year. You get out of the Paul George monstrosity of a deal. That contract is franchise tanking. Nico trade George for defense. Well, Dame's on at least for Dame, he'd be on the last year of his deal. Well, I guess he has a player option. That player option kind of muddies the water. If Dame and Giannis didn't work, would Luka and Giannis work? Well, Luka's way better than Dame, so probably. So I'm trying to think, like, percentage-wise, what percentage would you guys put it at that Giannis asks out? If Giannis doesn't ask out, you're not trading him. The Bucks have no incentive to, like, just shut it down and blow it up. 80, 30, 50, 50. I think it's higher than some people think. But we've seen Giannis apply pressure on this Bucks front office before. You know, this isn't a scenario where Giannis is just like, yo, I'm here. I want to be here. We've won here. I want to win here again. You know, I'm not in the front office. It's not my job. I just want to be here. That's kind of how Dirk was. I don't think that's Giannis. Giannis is, I want to win, do this, do X, Y, and Z. That's it. I think he wants to stay there, but I don't think there's anything they can do. Here's their pick situation. Brooklyn has their pick this year. Pelicans have their swap in 26. Pelicans have their swap in 27. Portland holds their swap in 28. Portland or Washington gets their pick in 29. Portland holds their swap in 2030. So we're saying for the next, 5 drafts, you do not have your pick. So tanking's not really an option. The Bucks being like, Giannis, we owe it to you, bro. There's no way out of this for us. We're going to trade you. We're going to send you wherever you want. You know, just let us know. Give us a list of teams or whatever. We'll work with you. It's time for us to rip the Band-Aid off. Like, that's not even really an option for them. And I think their situation is so bleak that even if Giannis demands a trade, I think that the Bucks could be like, honestly, bro, no. Honestly, we love you, but no, it ain't happening. It ain't happening. Sorry. It ain't happening. Brooklyn's probably the most realistic scenario, as the Bucks could try to rebuild with one of the top guys of this draft class. So that's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting because if I'm the Bucks and this does happen, I'd want this process to move pretty quickly. I'd want this process to move pretty quickly. Because, yeah, that's actually an interesting thing to think about. I hadn't really thought about. If you look at the draft this year, obviously we don't know the lottery's in a couple weeks. But due to trades and stuff like that and teams being killed by injuries, there are some interesting teams that could land high lottery picks, right? Like, what if the Spurs get number 4 overall? What if Houston moves up and they're 4 or 5 or even higher than that? Hell, what if Dallas moves up? I'm just joking. What if, Brooklyn or what Philly? Like, what if one of these teams gets a top 3 pick? Maybe not number 1. I don't know if a team would do that. Well, trying to think. Do you think there's a team that would trade the number 1 overall pick for Giannis? Out of this grouping. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know out of this grouping. I don't think any of these teams would. I don't even think Houston would. That was the only team I thought about. I thought about Philly for a second, but them winning the lottery opens up this possibility for them being like, all right, we have our post Embiid shit figured out. Like, we're not winning now with these guys making this much money, but at least we have Maxey and we have Flag and we have Jared McCain. We're good. Spurs wouldn't do it. I don't think Brooklyn would do that. Obviously, Utah, Washington, Charlotte, they're not doing that. Pelicans wouldn't, although I'll talk about the Pelicans here in a second. There is one team I think could do it. Honestly, I think the Raptors are batshit insane enough to maybe consider that. Like, quickly, RJ, the number 1 overall pick for Giannis. Would the Raptors consider that? I think they would, honest to God. Remember the Raptors Giannis talks were hard earlier. The smoke was pretty big there. No, Flag's declared for the draft. Flag's going to the draft. I never bought into the Flag might not. Houston. You know what? Don't sleep on like a Portland aggressive offseason. I've been thinking about that recently. I think Portland. Don't sleep on a Portland aggressive offseason. If the Mavs somehow won the lottery by the grace of God, 1.8%. If the Mavs won the lottery, I mean, how would they even get there contractually, though? Man, I feel bad for the Bucks, and I feel bad for Bucks fans because the future's bleak, and I think I feel bad is the media, national media has been trying to make this a thing for so long, and to Giannis's credit, he's been like, yo, I'm good. Like, I want to stay here. I want to win here. It's basically how long? It's been like 7 years of just nonstop. This could be it for Giannis and the Bucks. This could be it. No, this time it's it. This time it's it. This time it's it. It's been like 7 years. But now it just feels like this is inevitable. This is happening. There's almost no way it's happening. I wonder what their thoughts of it are. What Bucks fans are thinking. Yeah, 30, 20, and 13 last night. I refuse to believe we trade him. He's probably the most loved man in Wisconsin. I do think there's the possibility of an ugly situation where Giannis asks out and the Bucks say no. But I think Giannis means so much to them that I think that he would just do it. Oh, the Bucks fans are kind of... Man, everyone needs to stop speaking this into existence. He has not mentioned any interest in leaving. Oh, man. Okay. This is going to be sad. You know what's interesting is there were times throughout Dirk's career where it was like, Dirk, you can leave, bro. There were multiple times throughout Dirk's career where Mavs fans were just kind of like, Dirk, if you leave, we're good. Like, wait, we don't blame you if you're gone, bro. Dirk, if you want to leave, no one will be mad at you. I mean, what's even there? If you're Giannis, you're sitting down. We know Giannis sits down, he talks to the front office. If you're Giannis, you're sitting down, you're talking to the Bucks front office, and you're the Bucks front office. What do you say? Like, what do you tell him you're going to do? Dame for Paul George? Dame for Bradley Beal? That's our move? Maybe we trade Dame for a shitty-ass contract the team's trying to get off of? That's our play? There isn't a move. Bucks fans need to realize this isn't a Milwaukee's going to trade Giannis. It's Giannis is going to want out. He ain't leaving, and I'm confident we can still compete next season. In what way? I feel bad for Bucks fans. I don't even like doing this after a heartbreaking loss because, emotions are high. But genuinely, what the fuck is the pathway? What is the pathway? There is not one that exists.